Hello my friends and welcome to Walmart. I'm sure you have seen on the internet all of the eat for $1 a day, eat for $5 a week, eat for $10 a week videos. In fact, I've done a few myself. However, I've not done any in 2023 because, what? I just feel like it's getting crazy sauce here at the grocery store. So I was kind of wondering, I've seen a few videos this year in 2023 and I'm like, is it even possible? Can you eat for $1 a day? It's not looking good. Things I thought were gonna be 50 cents were $1. Like eating on $1 a day is only $7 for an entire week, and that's crazy. I feel like that's maybe too extreme in this situation. What I am going to do today is give you a few very, very low budget options that are slightly outside of the box and some cooking skills that you can use to turn any meal delicious. I'm here in the cold cereal section, obviously, and I'm looking at the oatmeal and I'm thinking, how many more times do you guys need to see oatmeal, right? I have made oatmeal, you've seen the oatmeal, everyone cooks oatmeal. So I'm not gonna show you the oatmeal today. However, I've mentioned this in a previous video, but the tub, while a good price, the off-brand, it's just oatmeal after all, these bags are cheaper per ounce. So if you want to do something incredibly inexpensive, this is $1.38. I remember when this was 50 cents. So even at $1.38, you're not getting a ton, but I still think oatmeal is one of the most versatile is probably the wrong word, but best bang for your buck as far as breakfast goes. Now, if you cannot stomach oatmeal, let me give you another option. Even if all I did was get the absolute cheapest loaf of bread I could find here at Walmart and 1 dozen eggs, thank the Lottie, these have come down in price a little bit. This is still 43 cents a day for a week of like 2 pieces of toast and 2 scrambled eggs. Actually, it doesn't even get you a week. Or you could do 1 fried egg, 2 pieces of bread, and make an egg sandwich. Something I've done many, many times, and one of my favorite breakfasts, and you get a good amount of protein and fat from this. Less than 5 minutes, it's really delicious, especially if you have like some cheese hanging around, but that's a splurge right now, am I right? So what we're actually going to buy today is something totally different and probably unexpected. How about if we took 1 box of Jiffy corn muffin mix, ignored everything on the back, and grabbed a banana instead? Would you believe that if I told you you could make breakfast with that? It's crazy, right? So my friends, I love bread. In fact, I love carbs, but at $1.32 for the cheapest, most garbage loaf of bread I can find here at Walmart, I am not about that. That's why it pays to develop some skills. And I think the first skill everybody needs to learn is how to make bread. I picked up a 10-pound bag of flour and a 3-pack of Great Value brand yeast for the low, low price of $4.84. I'm assuming you have salt at home because it's a basic pantry staple, and water. With no special tools, no real special skills, you can make my no-knead, hands-off artisan bread. How many loaves can we make for $4.84 compared to $1.32 per loaf here at Walmart? Welcome to the rice and beans section. It's amazing how small this section is compared to the cereal aisle, which is more than one entire aisle, and this is like a small little section. However, beans and rice are one of the cheapest things that you can eat, and they are delicious if you know how to cook them. Let's start with the rice. This is a 2-pound bag of rice for $1.72. What's annoying about this is Dollar Tree has a 2-pound bag of rice for $1.25. So if you are really, really pinching the pennies, run over to your Dollar Tree, maybe a Dollar General, a 99-cent store. See if they have a 2-pound bag, because it will beat the price at Walmart. Maybe by only 50 cents, but when you're that low, every penny counts. I lied, the rice was $1.62, still cheaper at Dollar Tree. A 4-pound bag of pinto beans is only $3.76. Here at Walmart, I can find very little meat of almost any kind that is that cheap. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna buy it for $3.76, and I'm going to show you a variety of meals that you can make that are delicious, you guys. Beans don't have to be gross, they don't have to be bland, they can be amazing. So with just a few more pantry staples, I'm gonna show you how you can take this bag of food for under $4 and really, really stretch it to feed your family. If you are interested in any other budget cooking, I'll leave my whole extreme budget cooking playlist down below. There are tons of ideas that I recommend you go try out. The prices are a little higher today, but still great ideas. Hey, I'm here in Albertsons because I wanted to show you how you can come to an expensive grocery store. Albertsons is hands down the most expensive in my area, and you can still find deals because first of all, they run awesome sales, and second of all, they have clearance. So today, really the only thing I found that I was excited about was the boneless, skinless chicken thighs. 30% off sticker makes this package $3.66. You know, this might be a hot take, but dark meat is the superior meat off of poultry.
I object, Your Honor, and I move to strike!
So I am gonna pick up this chicken today, combine it with the beans that I got. We're gonna come up with a very, very tasty dish, which yes, does mean that our price just went up a little bit. What's truly shocking is that such a small pile of food costs $14.95. However, I really do think we can take this as a nice base and pantry builder to create some delicious meals. We're doing multiple dishes out of this. We are gonna see how many loaves of bread we can tackle here. Here's the truth. There's something I wanna talk about before we get cooking. If you truly, like honestly, cannot spend more than $50 a month, like this is $15. $15 a week would be $60 in a month. If you do not have that kind of money, number one, you will qualify for food stamps. Please go to your food stamp office. The ones around me are so kind that even while you're waiting to be approved, they'll give you a basket of food to take home to make sure you don't go hungry. Number two, if you have children and or are pregnant, you will most likely qualify for WIC. The requirements for that are much lower or high, like you can make more income to qualify for WIC. If you go to your sheriff's office, city office, and school district, those places will know where you can go to get food. A lot of the places in my area do not have any income requirements at all. You just go and they give you some food. There is assistance out there, so if you really are struggling this badly, please utilize these services. They were created to help people like you. That being said, I'm very excited to teach you guys some basic skills in the kitchen today, making things from scratch and making them taste really, really good that even picky kids will most likely enjoy. Let's get started with breakfast. Once again, I know this feels totally crazy. We are going to use this box of corn muffin mix, the whole box. This whole box is pushing about 1,000 calories, okay, for just the mix. We're going to add a banana. Bananas, I mean, I didn't weigh it, but I'm assuming is about 100 to 150 calories here. Let's call it 1,100 to 1,200 calories right here. So depending on the size of your breakfast, mine are usually between 200 to 300 calories. If you did 300 calories, this could be 4 breakfasts. We're just gonna mash up the banana, mix it with the muffin mix, and bake it. And I will preheat my oven to 400, just like it says right here. Wanted to get started on my pinto beans. I took 1/3 of this bag, soaked it in cold water overnight, and drained it and rinsed it, and this is what I ended up with. It is amazing to me how much volume dried beans take up once you rehydrate them. Now I'm going to be using a 6-quart instant pot for this, but you can do it in a crock pot or on the stove. You also don't have to soak them. I just find they cook a little more evenly. In go all of my soaked beans. If you're not going to soak them, just make sure you rinse them really well and pull out any dirt or rocks or anything. To the beans, we will add 3 ingredients, and one of them is only water. The second one is a chicken broth, chicken bouillon, something like that. I have this one and a powdered one. You can literally use any, it doesn't matter. And seasoned salt. That is it. You will not believe how delicious these beans are. Like you can't even wrap your brain around it. So I'm only using this one because I have it in my pantry. I want to get rid of it. If you want to use just the cheap powder for everything, perfect. That will be just fine. If you have the better than bouillon in your fridge, that will be fine. I will do just shy of a 1/4 cup, maybe 1/8 of a cup, okay? 1/8 of a cup of the chicken bouillon, and then the seasoned salt, let's do a tablespoon. Yes, I know it is a lot of seasoned salt, but beans don't taste good with nothing in them. Maybe half of that. We can always add more. Okay, we're gonna go 1.5 teaspoons and cover with water. The amount of water that you want is about 1 inch to 2 inches on top of the beans. So I'm not at the max fill line, so I'm gonna be fine here. Make sure your sealing ring is hooked around all the way. Lid on, don't forget to push this to seal. And I will just use the bean chili button and call it done. I did let this sit in the pot for an additional 30 minutes minimum. And did you know that the Instant Pot lid was made to fit right there in the handle? Did you know that? Here are the cooked pinto beans, okay? You do not want to get rid of this broth. And now you can do a variety of things with it. So you can eat it just like this. You can make refried beans. You can put it on tacos. I'm trying to grab one of these so I can show you how soft they are. They should be very soft, like this. You can also divvy them up and freeze them already cooked, so you don't have to buy canned beans anymore. This is a much, much more economical version, and you can make it as easy as canned beans by pre-cooking and then freezing. Let's get started on our chicken tortilla soup. Okay, I have all the chicken in a pan ready to cook. I just sprinkled a little bit of taco seasoning. So easy, and a drizzle of oil. No rhyme or reason, just put it on there until it looks delicious. I will be grilling this chicken because it's nice outside, and why not? You don't have to do that. You can bake it, you can put it in the crock pot, you can cook it in the Instant Pot, or you can sear it in a pan on the stove. I just like to cook over fire.
I have made fire!
So I will take it outside, give it a nice grill until cooked through. For our soup, I have a soup pot right here on the stove, and I will add 5 to 6 cups of chicken broth. I'm just using a chicken bouillon. It's very inexpensive. I like this recipe because it's basically just like a dump and go. So an onion, like a half an onion to a whole onion, kind of your call. 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. The fresh stuff is the best. You could use powder or jarred, but I'm telling you, fresh, it's super cheap and really has a punchy flavor. Here comes my chicken that I seasoned with the taco seasoning and grilled outside. Just went ahead and cut it into, you know, soup-sized pieces. And you don't have to use this much chicken. You could use half and use beans to bulk up the rest. Your call. And the bean amount really is up to you as well. Every time I make this, I'm like, oh, I didn't add enough beans. So I wanna make sure I really do add enough in here. So I already have chicken broth, but let's add a few more spices. A half a teaspoon of cumin, and yeah, I'm eyeballing this, like that. A half a teaspoon of chili powder, and depending on your spice tolerance, some cayenne. I'll go a little on the light side there. Cayenne is super hot. Some lime juice. I have these like super sketch limes. So I'm just gonna cut these in half and squeeze these in here. That is really all there is. So I'm just gonna stir this together a little bit. Take a look at how many beans I have in here. I may add more later. Remember, everything in here is cooked except for the onions and the garlic. So I'm really just cooking it to bring the flavors together and to cook the onions. So we'll go ahead and pop a lid on, and it really doesn't take that long, maybe 20, 30 minutes, that's it. Hey, my friends, we are here. This is the chicken tortilla soup. Now we taste for salt. Add salt and pepper if it needs it. Your taste buds be your guide. And then as far as serving it, I'm a big fan of cheese and tortilla chips. Of course, you can use whatever your favorite toppings are. Whatever you have on hand, avocado is really nice, but it can also be eaten just like this. One of the cheapest dishes you can make is in fact beans and rice. And today we are going to do Dominican rice and beans. My husband lived in the Dominican Republic for 2 years, and this was a favorite. Now, we did the best we could with recipes online and translating them from Spanish to English, and I've never had it taste exactly right, but it is close. So every time I make this, he gets very happy. We'll start in a warm pan with some oil, whatever oil you want, and we will saute onions, garlic, and bell peppers. I didn't buy any bell peppers for this, but I gotta show you what I found. Last year's garden had some excess of peppers, and I chopped them very large and froze them. So I found these frozen peppers. They're really big, but they'll work. So we'll just saute this until they're a little soft. This is looking really good, and I may have walked away and it got a little dark. It's gonna be fine. Let's add some more ingredients. A splash of just white vinegar, about a tablespoon, about 4 teaspoons of chicken broth, 1 tablespoon of tomato paste. I really like these tubes. It makes it super convenient, but the cans are very inexpensive, really inexpensive. And the equivalent of 3 cans of pinto beans, which is, this is probably a little too much, but it will be totally fine. And then a little bit of water just to cover. Hey, if you also have cilantro, I would recommend 3 to 4 tablespoons of diced cilantro. I don't have any in the house. And a sprinkle of oregano you should also add, which I can't find in my spice cabinet. But I do have this Italian blend, which has oregano in it. So even though it's not quite right, it's just a sprinkle, like just a little, like this. If you have cilantro, add it. If not, this is fine. We will taste for salt later. But remember, we cooked the beans in salt and we used the powdered chicken bouillon, which has salt in it as well. So lid on, and this is gonna simmer for 2 hours. I know it's a long time, but you really need all the flavors to come together. To finish off the Dominican rice and beans, I made a batch of rice. You can do rice however you want, in an Instant Pot, in a pot on the stove, a rice cooker, whatever. You just pour the beans on top of the rice, and the way that I've seen it served is with thin slices of tomato and avocado if you can get your hands on that. Now, my area avocado are expensive, so I just stuck with the tomato. It's about 50 cents for this giant tomato, and I didn't even use half of it. Crusty no-knead bread starts with 3 cups of flour in any kind of mixing bowl. It doesn't really matter. It's 4 ingredients, that's all. Flour being one of them, water being one of them, salt, this like cheapy salt is less than $1, and our yeast, which we did buy. And obviously I don't use the whole package for 1 loaf. So 3 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of the yeast, and 1.5 cups of warm water. What does warm mean? Basically, if you put your hand in the water, you can keep it there and not burn yourself. That's warm. Stir until combined, just with a spoon. It will be sticky, and that is fine. I think I stirred for 20 seconds. So here's the texture that I have. Obviously, very, very wet dough. Not a problem. I will cover this with saran wrap and leave it on the counter for 4 to 24 hours. And that ranges depending on how warm your area is. I live in a cooler area. My house doesn't get that warm, so I can lean on the longer side. If you live in a very warm and humid environment and you don't run your AC all the time, maybe 4 hours will be just fine. It will rise and get very bubbly. Friends, it's been about 12 hours and I meant to cook this last night and did not because I was tired and I didn't wanna. So it's a very, very forgiving dough, but this is what it looks like. I kind of stirred it around to get rid of a ton of the bubbles. And to show you that you don't need any special tools, I have right here 2 regular loaf pans. So you can get these at Walmart. I've seen them at thrift stores, Dollar Tree, although those won't be as good. This is nothing special, but you do need 2 because you need to create a lid. I have my oven preheating at 450 degrees, and you don't even need a spray. I'm gonna use parchment paper. Wax paper would also work. If you have some cornmeal, you can sprinkle that in there, or you can spray it with a cooking spray. A goose. A goose. And if you haven't seen Liar Liar recently, you should, because it's hilarious. And we're just gonna pour the dough right in here. It's that easy. And the other one will go on top to form a lid. This is important. This is what gives it that nice, thick, gorgeous crust. So as soon as your oven is at 450 degrees, go ahead and pop that in there for 30 minutes. Here's my bread. Let's get rid of this paper. It did get a little wonky on this side because of the paper, but that's okay, we'll just flip it around. But look at this gorgeous crust. You are not going to get this crust if you don't have a lid. And my biggest tip is to let it cool at least 20 minutes before you try and slice it. You can see the texture of this right here. It is very soft. It's a little more dense than regular bread. So I'd say a chewier bread. The crust is quite thick, but you can eat it and you can slice it really thin, just like this. You can slice it kind of thick and chunky to dip it into soup. That's an excellent use of it, but you can make sandwiches out of this. You can make egg sandwiches out of this, toast. You can eat it just the way it is. And my math is that you can do 13 loaves of bread out of that bag of flour, which makes each loaf of bread 37 cents instead of $1.42 or $1.32 or whatever it was Walmart was charging. for their gross bread. This one's amazing. I have been asked before, how do you store this? For all homemade breads, they will last longer in the refrigerator, but my family can blow through this in one day, but I could eat this in just a couple days. Like, even if I was by myself. Isn't it gorgeous? Oh my gosh, I can't get over it. Excuse me, I need to be alone with the bread. In my experiment of trying to see if I could eat for $1 a day, what I have found out is that you can definitely purchase ingredients and make things very inexpensively. You can do an entire loaf of bread for under 40 cents. You can do 4 breakfasts for under $1 using the cornbread and banana trick. And if you know how to cook beans, making dishes out of beans, something cheap like chicken and rice, really can be delicious, satisfying, and not feel like you are really, really scrimping. However, $1 a day seems pretty close to impossible to get all of the protein needs, all of your fruits and vegetable needs. The recipes for today's video will be down in the doobly-doo if you want to go check that out and try and make any of these dishes yourself. And I would not be sharing a recipe with you if my family, including picky kids, did not think it was amazing. So give it a try. Make sure you're tasting for salt and pepper according to your palate. And until next time, happy cooking.